Hello, I'm Julie, and this is Stamp with Julie Baum. It is time for another episode of Simply Saturday. As I mentioned last time, we're doing 2 weeks back to back with Halloween cards, and so this is week 2. All right, now I'm using the same products that I've used before, and that is Spooky Halloween. We're using the stamp set and the coordinating dies today. Here's some of them. The rest you'll see as I put together the card. And then we're also using the Spooky Sweet Designer Series paper. We're using this cute candy print. All right, our colors are Granny Apple Green and Petunia Pop. Also some black. We'll see what else we end up using. Let's talk about our parts and pieces. All right, so the card base is Granny Apple Green, and for this card I chose a 4 1/4 by 11 inch, scored and folded at 5 1/2, which often I will use as a card this way. Today we're going to do our card this way. I have a 4 inch by 5 1/4 inch piece that's going to be the inside panel. This piece is also 4 inches by 5 1/4. And here's something that you probably noticed that I missed. Upon glancing at this paper, it looked non-directional to me, like the candy's going every which way, so it doesn't matter. After I cut it and got it ready to design the card, I realized that the bats are indeed flying in one direction. So you might want to be careful and make sure that you don't have your paper upside down with the bats upside down. I did not notice that originally. All right. I have a scrap of Granny Apple Green that I used this die. This is from Nested Essentials. All right, so I cut out that rounded rectangle with that die. And then I used Spotlight on Nature, and I chose a circle die, this one, and my Petunia Pop cardstock, and cut this circle out. If you don't have those particular dies, you can substitute with something you have, or simply a plain circle and a plain rectangle. That would work as well. Okay, let's see here. We're going to do some stamping and some coloring. Not too busy because we do want to keep it fast and easy, but we are going to do a little bit of extra today. So first of all, I have a scrap of white cardstock, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp my cat, my little cat that's dressed up like a witch. I'm going to get that stamped onto this white scrap. And as I was looking at this and thinking about it, I thought this would be an excellent stamp to use with your stamp positioning tool. Now, Stampin' Up carried one for a while, and we no longer manufacture it or offer it. So now I use a Misty stamp positioning tool. It would be a great reason to pull that out and use with this stamp. The reason I say that is because the cat's hat and little bucket, you want very, very dark black. And so upon stamping it only once, we're only going to get a certain level of dark black from the ink. If I was using my Misty stamp positioning tool, I could re-stamp the cat in precisely the exact same position, and I could do it another 2 or 3 or 4 times if I needed to increase the intensity of the black. But this is what we have for today because we're keeping it fast and easy, and I didn't want to pull out a stamping tool for that. So this is what you have, but I thought it was worth mentioning. Okay, now one thing that I do think that we can do to make this better, and that is to go ahead and grab a black Stampin' Blend and watch what happens as I pull the cap off. This end. To just make that black a little bit more intense. If you have a steady hand, if you've had a couple cups of coffee, you might not want to try this. But I'm just going to use my blend and outline the very edges of the hat. Again, this is a little bit overkill. You don't have to do this, but because I didn't use my Misty and I was not able to re-stamp this and get it dark, 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 dark black, I'm just doing a little bit of outlining. So it's making the outline darker and still the center kind of a smudgy black color. Charcoal, we'll call it charcoal. But you can see how that sets it apart just a little bit better. You're going to really see it on the bucket. So I'm going to come across the top and down around the bottom. And it really does make a difference. All right, so that's what I suggest. Now, I went ahead and stamped that, used the die, and cut my cat out. All right, so we're going to be able to color her from there. Let's talk about the other die cut, and that is the little witch's broom that I'm going to put in her hand. So all you need for that is a scrap of white cardstock, the broom stamp, and that can get stamped and die cut. One thing I've already learned about this little broom when you die cut it, that is that the bottom part of the broom where the bristles are needs to be up a little higher than you might think. Let me show you. The first one that I stamped and die cut was this one. And I thought I had it positioned really, really well. But see how there's too much white space below the bristles? And so when I did it the second time, I moved the die up just a teeny bit more than my mind's eye thought it needed. And it came out much, much better. So just think about that the first time that you go to cut out your broom. All right, so obviously we're going to use this one. And we'll do a teeny bit of coloring. I'm going to make her dress Petunia Pop. And I think this is long sleeves. Oh, it's kind of a shirt and a skirt, isn't it? Okay. Let's go ahead and do Petunia Pop on the shirt or the top part of the dress, whatever this is supposed to be. The bodice of the dress. Here's the sleeve. I don't want to color her hand. Okay, it's a little tricky around the handle of the bucket. I just kind of dabbed a little bit of color in there. All right, let's try that. And then we'll see how this works. I'm going to use an experiment here. I'm going to use, that was light, Petunia Pop light. This is Petunia Pop dark. If it is not dark enough, I'm kind of chickening out. Let me see. Yeah, it is darker. It's not like that much darker. Okay, executive decision. I'm going to make the whole thing as if it was one dress. If it's a skirt and top, that's totally fine that they're the same color. All right. And the reason I decided that is because I am going to use green on her little stockings. And so I didn't want to introduce green at this point. Okay, I'm going to use the darker Petunia Pop just to put in a little bit of accent here and here, kind of where there would be some shading, some shadow. And then that is kind of setting it apart a little bit more too. All right. That's cute. Okay, we're going to stop there on her dress. And then I have Granny Apple Green. And this is pretty tiny area to color. But I'm going to, let's see, that's her shoes. So that's going to be black. Looks like only one green stripe is going to fit on this side. So there's a green stripe just above the boot, and then a black, and then a teeny hint of green. Boy, those stockings are just barely there. All right, let's use our black for her boots. She's so tiny. You hardly need to even move your Stampin' Blend around. I could have just done the whole stockings in green, but there you go. You've got the green and the black. Okay, I think that the cat face needs a little something, so I don't want to completely color it, mostly for time, but also because I don't want it to look too dark. So I'm going to outline using my gray. Ooh, this gray might be kind of on its last leg. Let's see if the other side is a little better. All right, so I'm basically just outlining her face in smoky slate light, and it's giving us the illusion that she's a gray cat. I think I'll do the tail in gray. I just don't want the face filled in. You could do it how you want. And also for fast and easy, we don't want to be coloring every single last little step, right? I'm struggling with my black pen. Sorry about that. And a little black nose. Okay, that's it. That's all we're going to do for our Miss Kitty. I said that, but her hands need to be, her little paws need to be gray. Otherwise they look like we forgot them. All right, that's it. Okay. We have this, we have our broom. I wasn't going to do anything to the broom, but I think since we're sitting here with it right in front of us, we need to add, let's try crumb cake first. I was thinking pecan pie. That's pretty light. I know what we'll do. We'll take that. Oh, I can't find that other broom that I die cut wrong. I was going to practice on that one. All right, we'll just practice on our little scratch paper here. I think that's going to be better for the broom, don't you? Let's just put some pecan pie in there. There we go. Alrighty, let's put the card together and we will do a teeny bit more stamping as we go. I'll put my background piece, my designer series paper, onto the front of my card base, being very careful to not put my bats upside down, as we mentioned. So turn it and check it. Okay, it's fine. I think another layer of colored cardstock behind this paper would be really appropriate, either a black layer or maybe yellow. But for fast and easy, we're not adding that extra layer. Okay, there's that. Then I'm going to take my Petunia Pop circle, and I think we'll do this. I think we'll glue her to the circle, and then we'll pop the circle up. Let's do it. We could have done it either way. We could have popped her up with dimensionals, but I think we'll pop the whole thing up. So we're going to put her down like this. Oh, I need room for the broom. Before I stick it down, let me check, make sure I have room for the broom. I didn't quite want it centered because I'm going to put some gems there. All right, there we have that. And the broom, cute. All right, let's flip that, put some dimensionals onto the back. All right, we're going to get this placed where we want it, and that is going to help us determine where our words are going to go. So this is going to go down here. She looks cute. Make sure you guys can see. All right. Okay, on this little scrap, I'm going to stamp the word spooky. I kind of struggled with what to put up here in the top left corner for the words to keep it looking balanced and also to keep it fast and easy without doing too many layers or too much die cutting. So this is what I chose. I have a little scrap here of white cardstock. It's about a 1/2 inch wide, and I've stamped spooky on it, and then I'm just going to snip it off. We're going to use it just like that. Here's that green die cut that we prepared. That's going to go here, and spooky is going to go on top of it. Now we could go crooked like that. That's cute. I'm going to choose to go straight because I feel like it's already kind of whimsical enough. So I'm just going to go with straight. Let's put that into place. I feel like I'm heavy-handed with my glue today. Do you ever have days like that? All right, spooky is basically getting centered onto this green piece. I feel like a little of that edge should have been trimmed off. I'm gonna do it. It wasn't quite stuck down forever. Yeah, I just felt like that side was a teeny bit long. That's better. Should I have taken more off? Maybe. Okay, and some dimensionals on this. I'm going to use some babies, little mini dimensionals. I'm so glad we have both sizes. I regularly use them both, the regular full size and the minis. They come in very handy. Now I want you to know that this stamp set and the bundle, the stamps with the dies and the paper, there's also a suite available where you get the paper and the bundle and the ribbon and the embellishments. At the time of this recording, all of those items are in stock and ready to be ordered. And I feel like as the month goes on, we may see this sell out as people start working on their Halloween projects. So if this is cute to you, I would say go ahead and add it to your cart right away before you run the danger of it being out of stock right when you want to get it. Okay, that is super cute, and I think we're going to end with that. We will do our inside, but let's add some embellishments. And I think I was thinking black stars. I kind of want to see what the purple stars look like. I think we're going to switch to purple. Okay, we're going to use purple stars, and for this card, I'm going to use quite a few. I'm probably going to use 5 because I just want them randomly sprinkled all around the card. And I'm using the large ones first. I'm going to put 3 large ones on and then determine where I'm going from there. I'm just going to stay with large. There's so many times that I end up using small embellishments. It's nice when you have a really good reason to use up the larger ones. Okay, there's my purple glimmer, shimmer star foam stickers. And then that's not all. I think this needs some regular rhinestones. So hold, please. I got some regular rhinestones. All right, I pulled my regular rhinestones. I was also looking for some black ones. I'm sure that somewhere in my little embellishment organizer I have some black ones, and I think that would have looked cute too, but they weren't jumping out at me. So we're going to go now with some small rhinestones, and I just want to decorate this little area that I purposely left open for this reason. Because I knew that I wanted to add a little bit of sparkle there. And then as I'm going along, I've decided that our little spooky tag needs just a pop of bling. Okay, that I think finishes that up nicely. It's so cute. All right, let's do something on the inside. I chose to use this long stamp that says, "Don't worry, eat sweets," which I feel like is appropriate because of the little treats and sweets that are on our paper. So we're going to give this a go. All right, that looks pretty well inked. I'm going to go, I think I'll go slightly higher than center. My worry word doesn't look inked enough. All right, let's try that. Slightly raised up the piece of cardstock, not quite aiming for center. That worked. And then I was really wanting to use this little whimsical, I call it bewitched stars. I don't know if they're sprinkles or speckles, not speckles, sprinkles, whatever. So let's do some of that, and we'll stick to our color combination. So I'll pull Petunia Pop. We might just use one color. I might mix in the green. Let's see what happens. And how dark is this going to be? Oh, it's tiny and light. I don't think I'm going to stamp off. I'm just going to do a little bit here. Ah, cute. A little bit here. I say we stop. I was going to clean this and add some Granny Apple Green, but I think that this is just enough. All right. I don't know who ever said, you know how we get to this point in the conversation, and usually somebody says less is more. I don't know where that came from. I do agree that often it's true, but not always. Sometimes you need to add a little more. All right, in this case, we did go with less is more. All right, there is the inside of our adorable little Witchy Cat card. What do you think? I'm going to put some information for you below in the drop-down box, the description box, to help you find these products, and also provide some other helpful information there for you, some shopping links and so forth. I appreciate you so much. Thanks for watching today, and until next time, happy stamping.